psychotic. So one of them was claiming that it had just done something. So propaganda goes out against victims. They're all mentally ill. This is Lisa Guthrie, 505 Northeast 70th Street, Seattle, Washington, 98115. And this is a crime-ridden building. It's called Green Lake Plaza Apartments. There's nobody here that's normal. There's nobody here that's nice. And nobody is allowed near me. And it's getting to the point where less and less people are allowed near me. There's nobody to trust. They are all grotesque cannibal zombies. And they hide in a green area of the building and up. And it's a 7th floor, and there's a threatening kidnapping, and his green area or the building, and it goes in a snake-like line all the way around the room into the. It is nobody that is nice or normal. There are probably bad cops here still. 2 of them, including Officer Rob Howard and another bum called the corpse like they're retarded. They're also getting illegal acts. A cop and professional, and the dirty professionals actually let them. And there's a bum yapping about an interview. He is a crack-laced moron. There's nothing that is legal about what he's doing. The word interview is a code for raping, torturing, cutting, even mutilation, and murder, slavery. So you don't listen, and hopefully you don't get it like I'm in, where it's uncontrolled. And they also committed a genocide of 31 million people in 20 years, white Semites and warm skinned Europeans. And looking, I'm not even white. And remember, there's nothing to listen to or to take seriously. You just call the cops when you have zombies. They're dangerous. Even the old ladies will shoot you. They could be on a walker with shaky legs, or they jab a needle in you, or do one of their activities against whites and whites looking. That's throwing glass. So there's nobody to be trusted. The quivery old ladies and walkers here. A lot of them are actually people that have taken drugs. They might look 80 and they're in their 60s at the very, or they could be 60 and just look 80, or 40 and look like Granny at 70. One of the terrorists, and they are terrorists, it's Eric Andre Kinzel. And a female in with him is talking about skinning people. These are sick retards. Every one of them is grotesque. Nobody wants them. You don't listen to anything they say. And one of the marks of the zombie they're Satanists, they acted like they could punish everybody and that everybody owed them money. So this camera over here, if you wonder why people, because I'm blocking the other camera around trying to show this vehicle. What boogeymen? I call them boogeymen. That's all they are. Even the women are boogeymen. I'm not going to listen to boogeymen. So I'm going to find some breakfast, which probably will consist of some coffee. Here it is. Remember, these are cannibal zombies. I'm not interested in them. First off, because they're cannibal zombies. They eat people, they eat animals that aren't supposed to be eaten, and they torture. And by the way, where's my manners? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done as earth as in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. For that is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done as earth as in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. For that is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. Our Father who art in heaven, Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done as earth as in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. These are sick, foul freaks, and what I've stated lately, and get them rounded up. Even if you can't prove they're cannibal zombies, you can prove they're mentally ill. And I'm going to give you a couple of tools. Remember, I'm not an expert. Remember, I'm isolated and I think a lot. Unlike the zombies, they don't think. And one of them is chanting like she has the hot breath of a possessed animal. So, you can get them rounded up and committed. They smell. They're a health risk. Sure, not be able to prove they're cannibal zombies. You can prove they stink. They're going to smell of cannibalism and torture victims, urine, blood, etc. They stink, blame it on them. They can't take care of themselves. They also like to use the same word over and over. They use the same word over and over and over. And so using the same word repetitively. Why? It's code. They don't want you to know what they're talking about. Too bad. You put them away as someone with dementia. Grandiose behavior. What would that entail? The ugly boogeyman that looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon, thinking women would want to. An ugly man, he can't just walk off with people. These bums also extort constantly. So you start busting them for playing Tartar Bill, whatever that's supposed to mean. They'll even play bills for you being harmed, bills for the food bank. They all think they own the food bank. You're going to have to round these people up en masse. Obviously, you have to do it legally. So, like if you're Army or, somebody out there who is law enforcement and you're not a zombie or you're sick of these people who made you into a zombie, I'm just trying to give you tools. So, these zombies, by the way, they will infest everything they can with cannibalism. So, if you're afraid of cannibalism, the best way I've found, now Washington State has a lot of cannibalism. So, a lot of Washington products, it's sort of like I have to either not use them or wait until it's a separate lot. It's like the zombies will even laugh about certain shipments had more cannibalism. So-and-so opened that, put a person's hand by it that was dead. North Shore Senior Center, 408343, something like that, or 10. And those are important to note why it's a vehicle. And often zombies will use just about anything to kidnap you. Just about anything becomes a kidnap vehicle, including North Shore Senior Center, a cabulance, a yellow cab. And the retardos like to mix legal and illegal, so they'll call it a police cab. The white or black vehicle, the vehicle with no windows, the motorhome. I was threatened about motorhomes. There's an ugly Hispanic male that's threatened me. He was on video yesterday. He's got sort of pale skin, and he's got shaggy with mustache. He's on video. He's on several videos now, probably. What do I do sometimes with a weird hand movement and a weird face? I'm not on drugs. I like to curse the zombies, quite frankly. I have to look for something that's not sweet. I think a spoonful of peanut butter would be good. Or like a big fork full of peanut butter. You know, and I get my protein, because I don't eat meat, I get it from milk and dairy and then fish. I could have fish for breakfast, but it's stinky. And last night I had a second little can of fish. Ugh. It gets repulsive. Quite frankly, it gets pretty repulsive. By the way, there is no excuse for cannibalism, and these liars will even pretend they were starving. The only people they starved were their victims, and they fed them cannibalism. But if somebody likes cannibalism and they're also driving around in the victim's car and wearing their clothes, they're not a victim. For years, tuna fish, beans, and other legumes like peanut butter, it's just sat on the shelves in food bags. I've seen peanut butter that's probably 5 years old. Why? Nobody wanted it. Should tell you something. If you're not allergic to peanut butter, now, I always thought, okay, well, I think about Armageddon. Well, everything smells of dead flesh anyway. But one of your goals in Armageddon would be to get away from the dead bodies, right? Interestingly enough, I'm surrounded by the smell of death. You walk into a shopping area, death smells, rotted flesh. In this building, rotted flesh smells. And these retarded zombies, they'll try to punish white-looking Semites and warm-skinned Europeans for even eating. And the ones that look like they're flourishing, quite frankly, and without the scars, any of them, it's not a good sign. It means they went in with their cannibal, zombie, Satanist, black Nazis. It means that they killed people. It means they tortured people. I might have a couple of dates. Those are good. There's coconut clinging to it. Oh, darn. Green car, sunroof, slight spoiler in the back. Kind of slim, not that slim, but a little rounding on the top, spoiler in the back. It's dark green. And where did I put my dates? Or, are they things or dates? I mean, they're plums. So that'd be prunes, really. I put them in with coconut. Now, a lot of these zombies, they've stolen a lot of identity. So it's also about money, property, and identity that produces credits in some form or produces more money. They don't go always for the one-time only $300. There's that too. They're going to go for something that keeps producing, even with the collusion of dirty DSHS, dirty Social Security. So there's a creepy smell. I'm going to put away my coffee. Food's already creepy enough here. And they're probably torturing an animal or a person in the wall. And remember, I'm in here. But one of the favored activities of the zombies, accuse you of something, put propaganda out, force you to do something, or make it look like you're doing it. You're the guilty one. They bury your ID, you're the bad one. They might resurrect it later to produce money. That's one of the favorite. That's just a variant of the theme. And it smells like cooking. And remember, there's nothing normal cooked here. So I'm trapped in here with the smell of meat. Basically, it's not meat. And there's a horror play. You're going to the store tonight. Am I going to do things people say no? Or she says stormed. You're going to get stormed. They use the word storm a lot. Storm King means people that break in. So I'm going to start getting ready. You could see someone break in. I apologize. I didn't do the violence. Remember that. Not my fault. I've got to make sure my phone's charging. It's actually charging nicely. You just have to have the right angle of the cord. See, that's the problem with this phone. It's actually an okay phone, but it wasn't charging. And then I was able to get rid of some of this stuff happening by reworking it back to factory settings. The other phones weren't really working. So I have clothing at my storage, but I'll tell you, nothing has been safe there. Zombies will break in via unusual methods and also do what's called keying. So literally, your key would go out tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of times. And my clothing smelled like a weird solvent smell at Roosevelt Self-Storage the other day. Interestingly enough, there are some people that sneak around in the zombie network, the Kovacs. Tom Kovacs, Bela Kovacs, John Kovacs. My stuff smelled like some sort of weird solvent. They're welders, and they were there that day. And it smelled like my clothing has smelled of weird pea soup, which I hadn't eaten. It smelled of dirty people. It smelled, and there's been like flesh that I kicked at or bone fragments, not knowing what it was, thinking it was candy, and some of it had dragged in. And then there were like these gross blood dots where I'd kicked it outside of the storage because I thought it was candy for some reason. And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to kick that out. It must have ridden in with me. And then there were like these weird blood drops. I took pictures of that, posted them on Google, by the way. I also sent pictures to the OPA, Office of Professional Accountability Police. Why? Well, dirty cops go to Roosevelt Self-Storage too. In fact, Officer Rob Howard is obsessed with antiques and marble. And you will be threatened in a storage unit for even $10 worth of crap. You'll have people walking up and down acting like that pawn show. Including an ugly creep. He's small, ugly, retard, big nose. Ugly, remember, it's a symptom of the genocide that killed off good looking. He's short man, dark hair. And by the way, they like to play the names of the people they targeted. So they play him off like he's Italian. They targeted Italians. There's a horror making a keypad threat. What is the keypad threat? That's a captivity threat where you would actually be not let out, and bums would come in this building and use a keypad. So remember, this is a terrorist building. They're using buildings like this for terrorism. They were talking about a BOMB this morning. So they're also used to produce all kinds of odd substances. They're used in gun running, gun or weapons, amassing weapons. A lot of your riots, probably. A lot of your, you wonder where people get guns. It's a lot of it's low income, but it's dirty cops making sure their retarded, crazy friends get the guns. Because then they have their own little guerrilla army. And there's a lot of black Nazism and a lot of other subversive activity in these buildings. And a bomb, there's a black bomb in there. I described him as looking like a jack-o'-lantern. He's making a torture threat. And so they've tortured, raped, murdered, and cannibalized in these buildings. There is nobody in Washington, apparently, that needs any kind of low-income building. Why? It's the criminals. And gone is the innocent old lady. And if there are innocent old ladies in these buildings, I'm stating nobody needs these buildings because they're just used for the crime. The old lady that was innocent, she was gone a long time ago in Washington. She's gone. And it's old ladies that were inducted now. So I'll be right back and going into the restroom. Remember, in 207, there's bums chanting. Oh, and they're playing You Gave Them Little Tiny Thing. There's a redundant theme by morons, and it's also about the spirit world. Yesterday, Kathy Cox, or the day before, that's a whore that comes here, she was chanting that I gave her planets, and she said, you gave me Nibiru, and you gave me continents. Now, why would you give anything like that to a retard that's a zombie cannibal thing? So there's this redundant theme also playing Lisa's favorite. So for all intents and purposes, because everybody's a zombie in Washington, there is no favorite. Never was. Boyfriends? Well, my sister has played an evil zombie game along with the rest of the weirdos that are left in my family, such as my brother. So that's Dawn Blackmore, her husband Larry, and Melissa Udd, my niece, and Michael Tedhope and my gross hillbilly cousins have played It's Your Boyfriend from 40 years ago. He's here to kidnap you, you're going to go with him. And he's here to kill you. They played that one over and over. So for all intents and purposes, there never has been a favorite in Washington. There is nobody in Washington. There is nobody in Washington. And I just hung up my stupid camera. So there never was a favorite in Washington. And even what I realize now, the actual boyfriends were just products of what was left from a retardo gene pool. Because remember, they committed an 80-year war on people. So all of my boyfriends were retardos, and that's all I had. There is no favorite in Washington. There never was a two-legged favorite. Does that mean I liked a one-legged person that's my favorite? No. It means there was no human in Washington that's really ever my favorite. And remember, my own gross relatives, they were abusive and not nice people even before they became zombies and they were involved in crime. In fact, they were busy acting like they were big shots and, well, they were killing people. and taking their identities. And they already were foul and disturbed even without the identity theft. So nobody normal, nobody nice in Washington. Never was a favorite, and for all intents and purposes, just say, I never gave anything. Why? Because they weren't whom they represented themselves as. So there's nobody. See, do you see that kind of abstract thought? So if even your mother may have tried cannibalism in the 70s or before, and your sister and your brother, they were cannibals, and they did Ted Bundy murders even. And he was blamed for some of their murders. Well, not that he's innocent, but a lot of those weirdo serial killers, they have people that will do copycat. So nobody was what they seemed anyway, and Don and Larry wouldn't have been a favorite anyhow. There is no favorite in Washington. They don't exist. And if even a friend that you didn't end acrimoniously with, and I just actually threw my phone in the garbage. So if you have a friend that comes for you 40 years later and you didn't end acrimoniously, you just lost touch, 30 years later, 10 years later, what does that tell you? Does that tell you there's nobody left in Washington and that there's zombies? There's a bomb playing blah, 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 continually. So you'll find that these retards, including the morons like I showed you, they like to make decrees and orders, and they think they're magical also. Remember, they're retardos, and they're about 30 IQ. And one of their favorite things is talking for others. So, yeah, it might sound ridiculous about the magical, but remember, they slip. That's like they're, whether you believe they're doing something, like a curse, but they slip in between, or slip. So, they might even shoot you if they're a dirty cop because they think you took Canada away from them. They're going to think they own Canada. They might think they own all the property in California. They own everybody with brown hair. Even the dirty cops might shoot at you because they're that crazy. Do you see what I'm saying? They're wrapped up in the paranormal, and they can't distinguish the visible from the invisible. They're all walking around with their invisible friends. And that would include dirty cops. So dirty cops are walking around with their invisible friends. They're all crazy. And a dirty cop thought about shooting me one time, and he was an old senile thing, and he saw a cell phone. And I was just walking along. Was I threatening him? No, I was just walking around. That was me. And I'm turning on my cell phone, it turns off, actually. So it's a cheap phone, and they do things to show you the cheap phones, I guess. They're not the most reliable things. So I've even been told by a dirty cop that was so out of it, she said, "You're shooting people." So, like I keep saying, with what? A rubber band? I didn't have a gun. But she was a psychopath. This is typical of the cops. They have hallucinations. And they're caught thinking they're in the invisible. I have the lights off. I'm actually going to use the restroom. I'll be right back, so we'll turn the lights back on. And I'm going to actually super arm. I'm going to super arm the alarm when it goes in here. And there's a horror yapping. Remember, these bombs in Washington are so psychotic, they're grandiose. You can round them up for being grandiose. just the act of a retarded hooker, a smelly bitch telling you what to do, or a bastard, you can get him for that. Took a bottle. If you wonder what that bottle is, I think water in it and wash. I'm the one who's told you about what they did to white Semites and warm-skinned Europeans. You can play crazy, just like the other stuff. You know, even though people have heard like the weird voices in weird areas, but the water, I've been even bragged to by black Nazis about how they served up water against white Semites and warm-skinned Europeans and white-looking people. My own relatives did this. They'll even have the sewage from the whole building rerouted into, and the gray water rerouted into your bathing and drinking water. And if you tell on meth lab people, it's very popular for the dirty cops to have your water rerouted. Plus, if you were white, Semite, warm-skinned European, or white-looking, it's part of the torture that I've endured for 14 years, perhaps more. I noticed it actually. I noticed sewage and water years ago. It could explain an irritable bowel condition that I had. And Michael Tedhope and Don Larry Blackburn have been involved with these low-income buildings for years. Those are my relatives, and there was an indication years ago that they were involved. What was the indication? Well, I want to make sure there's no nudity at risk of hanging up, the broadcast, and make sure I'm not walking in front of you. Yes. So I found on 2 occasions, I believe it was 2 occasions, something my sister had given me in a box, because they became very throwaway people, very much throwaway people in the 80s. I believe Don Larry Blackmore made a huge kill in the 80s, and the person was in New Mexico, from what I've heard, and so they made a lot of money. So they became people that threw everything away. They were even remodeling their house every 3 months in different areas, such as the kitchen. There could be another explanation. There could also be the explanation of victims. Victims produce smells. So Dawn may have been ridding herself of rotten flesh smells, urine smells of captives. We don't know. She was absolutely fixated on remodeling in the 80s. Also, now she wasn't a zombie yet. Maybe her mental illness from doing what she had done had caught up to her, and she was expressing it expressing mental illness by obsessive compulsive behavior. And it's sort of like the smoker who doesn't smoke. Like with me being surrounded by trauma, the human mind can crack. You don't find an outlet. Not that a crazy person like Hitler should find an outlet. But I'm not that sad about. I'm not the crazy person like Hitler. But being surrounded, I can crack. So I have weird outlets. Like yesterday, I ate chocolate, and then, of course, you feel like passing out. I don't smoke or drink. So, people have told me not to eat. They've tried to starve me in Washington. They tried to force cannibalism on me. So what does that make me do? It goes toward not eating meat. It goes also not cooking or touching things that other people touch if I can avoid it. And I'll even wash the outside of vegetables. So if I think about it, I'll even use one of those bleach wipes, which is unfortunate. You're also thrusting up the carbon footprint because of morons. Isn't that sad? So if I walk around with bleach rags, it's also because I live like I'm homeless and it's so dirty. Like you could just be at the bus stop, I'll give you an example, things drop to the ground. And then you have to pick it up. You need that, whatever it is. You need your pen. You need something. Nothing is clean around zombies anyway. They like to play with urine, fecal, vomit, phlegm, pus, menstrual blood. They like to play with corpse flesh. They like to play with bones. And I've even smelled them cooking rotted flesh here. So they're not above eating rotten flesh. Not that it makes it better either way. And so it's sort of moot. It's like, well, you're not more civilized eating fresh flesh either, are you? You're not going to be civilized. So what am I doing? I'm taking a bath in less than a gallon of water. Should have gotten something to wash my hair with. And now, if you think about it, that's actually not part of my carbon footprint. Oh, and by the way, these retardos, remember their redundant theme is punishment, punishing whites, white-looking, Semite, warm-skinned European. I think you're dropping lid. Well, if you think about it, and this is ridiculous sounding, they'll also try to play things like you owe for ecology. That's been a game played on me, you owe for ecology. And treating the victim as though they're responsible for the ills of the world. So I'm going to find a better shampoo. My alarm, of course, will go off. So literally these retards also, like including the black Nazis, they'll act like they own the food banks. They act like it's a guerrilla country. You're visiting their country as a hated guest, a slave. And they literally are that moronic as well. They're not smart people. They're 80 years of welfare that took over, or just charity cases that took over. And even if they didn't start out as charity or whatever, you have to realize these bums are usually tied to low income. They're tied to the social service. So someone with 13 identities, even 100, might be at a low income building. My brother-in-law has 3,000. So tied to the social services in some way. And one of the reasons I leave also is because you will hear moronic chanting by the zombie bums all day long. And if you could stand satanic, moronic chanting and just decrees and orders from retards all day, remember what it's like to. They sound like rabid, possessed jackals in a movie. And there's a bum chanting about branding. Remember, that's one of the threats. They'll even insist. It's like there are people at Solid Ground. One woman said, you're going to have the moon and stars on you. They like to chant about curling irons. Then they'll call everything a curling iron. What do they mean by curling iron? Curling iron looks innocuous. Remember, I'm cursing when I make a face and move my hands. The curling irons look innocuous enough. They're transported around to brand people and to put them into people's orifice, heated and tortured. Remember, these things never make themselves come out of the pants. Their mind is constantly about raping and penetration, including by the grotesque females. Deborah Layton, she's a fake nurse, 1979, her father was a doctor. She's an ugly whore. There's a whore playing it'll leave with me. There's nobody I would leave with. They made themselves repulsive. Interestingly enough, they were chanting, nobody likes you, nobody wants you, you're the ugliest person out there, you're the worst. Well, guess what? Look at them. It hit them, obviously. And they already were. You're the ugliest, the most hated, you're the devil. Well, and here they are. You're gonna live with me. You're my girlfriend. What's that about? They want kidneys, they want slavery, they want a torture victim, they want you as a hamburger. They have fetishes about bones and flesh. They're retarded, they're psychotic. It goes on and on. They think they're going to cure the world's, well, the thing is, some of these retards were told they would be beautiful by drinking blood of torture victims, or urine, or putting it in their perfume. And they all walk around like they're going to be so beautiful. Some of them actually look better because they've got other credit, other property, so they've got the better makeup, including right from the victim sometimes. They go to the spa. They have surgery. They think that it's because they drank blood, they're so psychotic. That they look better, is what I'm saying. They think they look better. There's a bad smell, it smells like the butchery. And they like to torture animals and people, and they have slogans like keeping their heart beating. That would be one of them. Keeping the heart beating. That's one of their slogans. Actually, let's see. So I didn't have a full gallon in one, but I was drinking some of it. So I could take a bath pretty much in a very little water. There's a whore plague in prison. They imprison people like that ugly frog face. There's a whore plague, blah, 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 blah. We'll do anything for you. These bums like to pretend they're rescuers. It's your boyfriend. He loves you. They'll even pose on illegal videotape, or if they think you have a security camera or they know it. So the ugly freak will maybe put a flower on your pillow after he's raped you, which he retrieves, of course. The ugly freak will put its toad-like face next to your frog-like face. So one of the big ones, you're going to hold someone. You're going to hold their hand. They'll try to force you to hold hands with frog face. Nobody wants that ugly freak. And so even if that ugly freak were trying to date someone, remember this redundant theme of force? We're helping you, we're rescuing you. That's not legal. It's called kidnapping, it's called rape, it's called illegal captivity. It's called stalking. He's an ugly fucker. There's a whore playing double mint on your face. Double blah, 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 blah. Now, double mint refers to a practice by zombies of putting, well, it's not just zombies that did it. They eventually became zombies. So, mint feeling on your face in water, turning to an inflammation of the epidermis, burning you in the worst sunburn type, well, it's more than sunburn. It can actually leave you with dreadful scars. So there's a variety of acid they put in the water, but you won't be able to detect it because of why? And I'm gritting my teeth as I tell you, because I'm listening to shit-ass morons. So just the act of listening to shit-ass morons is making me pissed off. So a whore's bragging and threatening about more acid on the face. Officer Bobby of the West Precinct and the other dirty police are involved with, quote, double mint. They call it double mint. You won't know what hit you. Why? It feels minty fresh and cooling while you're showering. It's obviously a menthol product. Officer Bobby and the retardo security guards, that I wish I had a smartphone then and I was recording, were putting double mint routinely in my shower, my other water at LaSalle Hotel. They were also playing the kidnapping game. They were pretending they were investigating me like I was a criminal. What was that about? Looked white. They thought I was white. I don't see how they could be that stupid. Why? And even if I were white, I have a right to exist. Look at, and so my family, they are secret black Nazis. Another thing they like to play, one of them was chanting S&M. So they'll portray a rape, a torture as S&M. They'll try to force the victim to go along with that. Nothing is legitimate in Washington, especially any kind of broadcast. Any boyfriend near me, there wouldn't have been. All these years, he was a rapist that broke in. There was no boyfriend ever on video. Ever. Never, ever. Why? I could feel how crazy Washington my whole life, and I realized it was Mongoloid DNA. Sorry, I'm putting deodorant on. And I realized they were Mongoloids. So about 16 years ago, 18, started talking to people on the internet and just kind of, and they were in another country. Washington wasn't worth talking to. But you do realize an irony, because these bums will try to threaten me with English people, which proves stalking. People who knew me, knew my tastes were involved. Strangers aren't going to know my tastes. So anyway, there's nobody who could even come to this country that or to the state that I would look at, ever. And plus I'm scratched. There is no male I'd ever want, or female. So there is no boyfriend on video. There's nobody who was ever legally near me on video, especially sleeping. I've taken pictures of people or video of people like Michael Wood. He was never a boyfriend. He never should have been seen slinking around the bed. He's so ugly, his DNA stinks. It stinks like a dog alerting, I think a dog alerting to the fact it's cancerous, but I'm alerting that it's bad DNA. These are ugly retards that I've known it my whole life. There was nobody really. There's a bum chanting, taser you. The dirty cops put illegal tasers into their hands that they actually need a license for. And remember, these bums that try to make themselves prettier, and also they'll try to make themselves seem smarter. How? And in the end, they just look dumber and they're uglier. Why? Because you notice how ugly they are. You notice how stupid they are. They killed off nice, pretty, normal. They killed off handsome. They killed off smart. They actually, with this reduced level of people walking around, they showed how ugly they are. So you notice the dogs better. You notice how retarded they are. There's a whore playing blah, 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 pick-me's, blah, blah, blah. What they refer to people they've scarred as, you picked acne, pink-me's, pick-me's. They're going to pretend you did needles. Why? It obscures you, it punishes you, it also is the strange phenomena which is indulged in by the dirty cops. You're so ugly, boogeyman, Black Lagoon-like guy can take you away now. Black Lagoon guy will be believed because you're so ugly. Ugly fat retard will believe now. Ugly, oh, there's a bum playing you're gonna leave with me? No, I'm not. But I'll help you get shot by a SWAT team. Would you like that? They're playing you're going on heroin, evincing heroin, he says. He thinks he's so magical. And there's a whore, copy a gun. Am I going to leave with a motherfucker or make sure they get shot? I'm going to make sure they get shot. Remember, there's not one person I'd leave with now ever. Ever. And even years ago, you don't leave with people that are in the closet or behind you. So I wouldn't have left with the fuckers anyway. Please forgive our trespasses, and those who trespass against us. It is not temptation. Deliver us from evil, for those kings and Lord of Lords, through our name. Remember, these are ugly freaks that nobody wanted, nobody liked. And they thought they'd be so beautiful. There's a bum playing, you might make me fashion bitch. You are a fashion bitch. You're every underwear of every zombie. Got your wish, huh? You're their tennis shoes, too. Ugly bitch. Remember, these are ugly retards. There is nothing but ugly retarded. ugly fucking bitch bag. Grossness. Nobody fucking wants them. We used gene pool already, even 30 years ago. There's a bum like line. You don't have a yours. You have all those fake news, morons. There is no line, stupid moron. There is no line, idiot. There is no line for a bum. You're a retarder. Remember, they're ugly fuckers. Nobody's gonna leave with a dirty, ugly man like that. And even if they take showers, they claim you're on order. Bitch, you don't order me. You're a fuck-faced moron. You're monkeys. You're retardos. You're special ed shit asses. Literally. Literally. And guess what? We have color. I can tell you. Oh, and then they're chanting orally. They play my dog. They like to play my dog. About white Semites and worms and Europeans. Remember, they're the ugliest things on earth. And these ugly freaks got together with professionals and fake professionals and actually put people on it. They actually consigned people to mental hospitals. Guess what? There are no people who could ever be trusted with whites, Semites, warm-skinned Europeans, and white-looking that were not whites, Semites, and warm-skinned Europeans. And remember, these are ugly fuckers nobody would want. They're boogeymen and women. They wanted ugly. They like ugly. They left themselves after all. They like ugly. Acknowledge they're ugly, by all means. They're too ugly for anybody. Nobody would want these. Oh, and the shit ass is threatening me for my coat. They'll threaten you for your very survival. Am I going to listen? Oh no, the bitch is going down on a SWAT team. SWAT team gurney. Does it mean he's a SWAT team? No, it's going down on a gurney. Not going to listen to bitch. Not going to listen to dirty, smelly retardo. You're a fucking retardo. Nobody gives a shit what a retardo says. And you fucking black Nazis, guess what? They weren't, well, they weren't, oops, I'm still rubbing on the damn it. They were not diagnosed as retarded. And I'm washing my feet if you're wondering what I'm doing. And they should have been diagnosed as retards and psychotic, and they weren't. They wandered around. And remember, my family members are secret black Nazis. And really, they were, I consider my sister and my brother-in-law a bunch of, well, I find that these bums that are actually very retarded and diminished, they got through on other people's money and also forced coercion and rewards. So, portraying themselves as more intelligent than they were, basically, and having others do it, including my special ed niece, Melissa. It was covered up that she was special ed. And I'm not going to play the game of you owe money, you're indentured. I'm going to get you shot by a SWAT team. You could walk down the street and find 10 black Nazis in a row playing that game. You're not their slave just because they're black. Fuck that shit. They're retardos. I believe they're not even human. And the secret is it was covered up. They aren't human. And they are the ugliest men you could ever find. They're not even men. They're just monsters anyway. And they never let loose of cannibalism, and that's the truth. They secretly practiced it. They are the biggest child molesters. There's nobody. A whore's bragging that she just murdered people. So she thinks she's going to be big and powerful. She murdered people. She's Satan. You got them. Tap my control times for every minute for times. There's a bum playing going on voluntary. These retards will chant even the word voluntary. What is that? That's a slave girl. Our volunteers. You'll even find fucked up junior high bastards with slaves playing voluntary. Volunteer. You're going to have a lot of trouble with me, bitch. And you'll never turn your back on me as a slave. You won't be able to turn your fucking back. Ever. Not for a second. So there's a bum outside, or he's hiding and they're discussing voluntary. There's also those ugly freaks out there. Let's see if you can see them without messing up the camera. It's split screen. I think the camera's too high up. I'm not going to mess around with it. It's a fat woman. I'm not going to mess around with hanging up the camera. The retardo out there is playing authorized Lisa. So remember, these retardos act as though they can talk for you. So the slaver out there is playing authorized. And do you see the ugly fat thing and the indigent? Do you see him? He just stated authorize Lisa. All of us can authorize Lisa. So the opinion of the scum-ass morons is that they can make your decisions. Look at her butt. Look at that fucking trollop's butt. Look at it. Potty Monster has at least 10 identities or more. He has at least 7. How do you think she got her big potty ass? She's a fart monster. They're gross fuckers, I'm telling you. They're obsessed with money, pleasure, treasure, leisure. Well, treasure, pleasure, leisure. And there's a whore playing it a go. It's the fat larva bitch from Wallingford Food Bank with a grip boyfriend. This is what you're going to get on both of you. And I'll fucking find you. You're going to go on a green ride one way or another. Whether it's mental hospital, prison, jail, you're going to get it. And if you have a gun, I'm going to take it from you. You're not going, oh, one of the bums in 207 is now threatening FGM. This is what you're going to get. You're going to go on a ride. I'm not listening to you shit-ass motherfucking minutes. God, bitch. I'm dirty, too. I want to walk over your blood, bitch. Believe me. I want you to get shot by fox, leader. And you're not going to even ever be able to go outside again. They're playing once we whipped you, you're going to get this. right on the face. And right off to the nursing home. That thing's gone too. Not listening to shit asses with an appendage that I don't have. Oh, and the horse-threatening cheeks is the ugly fat larva that was at the Wallingford food bank. That larva, you are on several broadcasts. You are recognizable even when you dye your hair. Nobody cares about you. And remember, even though they're stealing and they've got other identities and other food banks, they're tied to the social services. So larva bitch is always there as often as she can to get a bag of food. You saw Potty Woman's ass outside or on one broadcast. It's a potty monster. That's what they are. That's all they do. They're worthless. The reason I call them potty monsters is because they take up carbon footprint. They take up carbon footprint. They're nothing. They're potty monsters. And they're morons. And that ugly fat ass, how do you think she gets her babes? Slaves, torture victims. She takes their money. And you can see potty ass. And the direct result of having people's food stamps and their social security. Potty ass is fat. And don't worry, I'm thirsty for that. Oh, there's a bum telling me I'm going to take off my cross. Blah, 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 blah. He's threatening the cross. I'm a bitch. I'm going to end up on a gurney for that cross, bitch. If you get shot by a SWAT team for the cross, that's not my problem. And it could happen. Ha 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 ha! Flossing, if you're wondering. Kind of gross, I'm looking off the camera. It's gross to floss in camera. Gross. Actually, the stuff on the string is more intelligent than people in Washington, and the DNA is better. Mostly vegetables and fishes for that. So that was really gross. Some dairy. There's a bum still talking about her mother. He's playing her mother. By the way, that's a game played for years on me, and including by my gross, fat half-sister. My mother's actually been dead for 20 years. They'll play fake mothers, including grotesqueries like Kathy Cox. And remember, these fuck-ups think they're not traceable. Fuck up Kathy Cox. When I knew the ugly bitch, it was my neighbor at Burt Gilman Place apartment. Is she a mother? No, she's no relation. And the grotesque landlord was Nicole Wilkes, and she liked to pretend that she, she was cooking up this false relationship because of a very common name with Kathy Cox's indigent boyfriend, Will Smith. And Michael Wood has done that too. So they grab people and pretend it's their relatives and kill them and take their credit. Michael Wood, he's also destroyed Benjamin Davis Wood, probably. Or not Benjamin Davis Wood, that would be unusual. Benjamin or Davis. And he's destroyed woods. Now, the bums out front have gone into a tangent. I think they just said Soviet. So remember, you can round them up for being retarded and psychotic. The Your Family game, you need to commit and arrest anyone pretending to be my family, even if it's my real family. They're all estranged. So you need to help me with that. There is no family. You need to commit anyone playing boyfriend or husband. If you can't arrest them outright, you'll commit them. I'm counting on you to come in and take over Washington and start putting people in prison. Legal prison, of course. There's a bum playing magic games. You say, maintain boyfriend. There's a whore playing selling pants down. These are slavers. And remember, a dirty cop is probably still lurking. There's one dirty cop still lurking. So the dirty cops, well, all the cops, we need to consider them as terrorists because of their counterparts. So you just round them all up, you arrest all of them. Arrest and commit all of them. They all went in with the cannibal zombies. They are terrorists. There is nothing left. So they all need to be arrested and committed. Every aspect of Washington, every business needs to have everyone rounded up. Every agency. And a horse chanting Mateland. They use a lot of words, like I said, in code. So Mateland, that's where an ugly monkey man or retard big fat man or all of the above can drag you off and they play husband. Remember, they're uglier than sin. Mateland. There is no mate. They're fucking shit-ass morons. And so you remember, you round them up for smelling. They're playing roommate. There is no roommate. And they made everybody as repugnant and as possible and evil. So there is no roommate. There is no friend. And all those curses they put on me and all those chanting and all the attempts at humiliating me, everybody hates you. You're ugly. There is nobody. You wanted everybody to hate me. They're ugly. They're repulsive. You got your wish. Would you want potty ass in your house? Would you want the ugly other fucker that's got other identities? So they're all potty monsters, basically. Do you want them? Do you like them? Would you want big ass with all those identities that's tortured in your house? There is nobody. Remember, you chanted every day, you're the ugliest person on the internet. Even when I wasn't on the internet. You're the ugliest person. You're nasty. You're ugly. You're so ugly. You're the devil. You're a demon. Got green eyes. Well, then leave me the fuck alone. I'd rather look like me than any of you mongoloids. You all show that you are also the sons and daughters of inebriates. You've all got birth defects. And we'll put it this way, even my sister, she didn't have an openly discussed birth defect. I can find one. I can find one in my brother. And by the way, there's a pattern of people that weren't very good looking or smart, nice, normal, pretty, handsome. I said good looking, talented. My sister, I believe, was also not just dull, which is 80s. I heard she may have done the same thing they did with her daughter, where My mother either forced, coerced, or rewarded teachers to look the other way. There's a girl getting out of a bright red car with a bright red uniform-looking hoodie. No, it probably belongs to a victim. Or victim's credit. And remember, you're going to find meth head people that clean themselves up via 8 identities, and they're so sick and retarded. They think they got cleaned up because of Satan making them prettier. And they think because they drank blood that they look better. It's called 8 identities, and they can afford better makeup. They still don't look better, and like that still looks like a welfare face. I could see it 300 feet off. Just like they see the glimmer of white skin on me, and I'm not white, and they start getting violent. Well, I can see the glimmer of moron 300 feet off. Glimmer of moron. Moron glimmer. Moron glimmer. Moron. And I have no socks because yesterday, quite frankly, I couldn't even bother with going to sickening, repulsive Roosevelt self-storage. It smells of victims. You hear victims crying. You hear animals. You hear animals locked in storage. Oh, and one of the whores that's here, her name is Sunday. It's a black Nazi whore with purple zits and granny tits. Hey, that rhymes. Yay! Granny tits and purple zits. It's the purple people eater, too. She's a cannibal zombie. She thinks she's in with Tupac Shakur. Woo! Yeah! He's been dead for 20 years, but she's going to marry him. Purple tits. And granny zits. No, that doesn't go. Now say it correctly. She was the grandma of all zits. And I've just sat and rubbing alcohol. Well, like, wash myself better to do that. Don't go near the heater. I better not dry myself in front of the heater, had I? In fact, let's turn it off safely, what oven that is, and sneak over to the heater, which is not smart still, but it's good to unplug it if I'm moving near it. I'm, after all, wearing part of a bottle of rubbing alcohol on my butt. Maybe it killed some of the zombies because they are like a disease. Purple zits and grandma tits. Granny tits. Granny tits. In front of a purple people eater. Remember, he copyrighted that song. A purple people eater. Granny tits. And purple zits. Sunday's here, and then after she's killed people, she likes to go into insane blasphemies about the Immaculate Heart of life. I don't want to say it because it's such a blasphemy. Purple tits and granny zits. Purple tits. Yeah. Boy, remember, they're unrecognizable. They almost, the zombies, all of them, almost feel like they're bearing their own identity. You'll never know who it is. No, you just won't. You're not going to know who it is. Oh, and she's clicking again. woman, so are the other whores. Remember, she's a welfare bitch that went to Mr. Gregory home. Now I'm going to get more ready and I'll leave the camera up while I'm kind of collecting stuff. That's actually the better idea. I can collect some of the other cameras that aren't on and get those ready. Purple tits. So I'm going to get yours right here and it's going to be thrown in the garbage can. I'm outside of Roosevelt Self-Storage. I'm going to restart. There's a weirdo threatening me. This is a weirdly patched together video. And she was playing UO and she made a threat about my nose. She is retarded. She is an ugly mongoloid. That's what survived the genocide of 31 million people in 20 years. She was also playing Hawk-On. Hawk-On is an indigent that goes to Roosevelt Self-Storage, and there have been a lot of extortion threats regarding the ugly indigent Hawk-On.